Beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. I have just returned home from my first vision quest. It was 4 days, 4 nights in the wilderness, no food, very little of anything going on. And I did this because my soul was telling me that in order for me to break some of the very strong patterns that I had been holding on to, specifically tied to the addiction of who I once was, that I needed this kind of a space to be able to see things as they are, and most importantly, to be able to take the wisdom that I received. And this is like one of the whole components of a vision quest, is for you to bring back to your community the most important pieces that you learned that is going to help your community, your tribe thrive. And so that is what I'm here to do today. Today is going to be a very powerful video. This is the crux of 7 years of being a transformational coach, being in the spiritual space, helping people to reach that version of who they are beyond the past, beyond the conditioning, beyond all the mental schisms, right? There is a reason there are so many mental disorders today, because we are operating from an outdated system. It's like trying to run Windows 2000 when we're on Windows 100. All right, and that's happening for a lot of us, including those who maybe have been in the space for a while and have watched a lot of videos like this. So what I'm here to do is to break down the state. This is going to be a very comprehensive video. So I want you to grab a pen and a notebook, because one of the promises that I made myself is I'm not going to make content that is not specifically practical. I'm not going to make more hopium. I'm not going to make more videos that people just get dopamine hits by because they get little nuggets of truth. This is going to be designed, just like I do in my courses, just like I do in my community and with my clients, to put you in a place where you're really starting to actually take the right actions that you need to take to go through this process. Of course, it's not easy. All I can do is take the best of what I've learned from my own experience, from working with hundreds of clients over the years, doing retreats all over the world, and the patterns that I've recognized in the places that we're falling short, including the places that I have fallen short. So grab a pen and follow along, because this video absolutely has the potential to change your life. Okay, so we're going to break this down in stages. Again, this is all about breaking the addiction of who you once were. All right? I want you to just take a moment, take a breath, look around you, and realize, A, you're okay. And B, there's nothing else here. It's just you listening to the words that I'm saying. I'm just here, right? The story of Sean, my history, is that really going on right now? No, I'm just here speaking words in the moment, okay? And you're there listening to these words in the moment. So let's start from there, the present moment. And it's gotten so watered down and so cliche that the brain kind of dismisses it, right? But don't you think it's interesting that someone like Eckhart Tolle, he's become this world-renowned author, speaker, presenter, and you go to one of his shows and he just comes out and sits on his little stool and he just looks around and there's thousands of people watching and he's just like, hello. And everyone goes crazy. It's like, oh my God, the presence. He's so here, right? He's learned how to embody this. He's understood the process that we're all going through right now, which is simply this. This is the only thing that's going away, so that you come home to your isness, which is right here, which is why I did the vision quest, so that my brain could settle down into a place where I could see things as they actually were. So I'm going to try to distill this in the best way I can. And again, we're going to break this up into stages. So let's just begin this with fundamental stuff, okay? Who you think you are, who you've been, let's just call that the ego identity Okay, and what is the ego identity? Well, series of mental patterns and learned behaviors, right? Riveting stuff, Sean. No, we have to cover the fundamentals here, because if you look at yourself, your self-concept, which is everything, it's the story that you're telling yourself. The story of you is ideas that have been carried over again and again and again every single day. And they're literally just electrical circuits, synapses in your brain, firing and wiring the same way as Joe Dispenza always talks about. And it's a life of reactivity, right? You're reacting to the stimuli around you. You're thinking about things in the same way, right? You're consuming a lot of the same stuff, which is keeping you rooted into that story, okay? So this is step one here. Just realize your identity is a series of memorized mental patterns and learned behaviors. Okay, that's great. Now, who you are in this moment where there's nothing else going on, I can tell you to think about a blue and pink elephant in the corner of your room, right? I can tell you to go to a memory from your childhood, right? You can do these things instantly. And guess what? You're creating, you're recalling an experience that is within you. And that's all of that it is. You're using your mental faculty to make a recollection. One other piece that I want to say is that this is an unconscious creation, meaning that everything is a creation, right? Where we're putting our attention is what's being created in the garden of our consciousness. So for a lot of us, our attention is just getting siphoned to the same places over and over again, and therefore we have to be looking at the same garden because it's cause and effect, right? So this is a lot of unconscious creating. How many people watching this are fluent? They're excellent at being able to describe the things that they don't like, the things they don't want, the things that they're trying to avoid and get away from. This has been one of the biggest traps of self-improvement in the self-help industry. It puts you into this place where you're focused on your problems, your deficiencies, right? Very little of your mental bandwidth is on the things that you desire, the you that you would like to be, right? Thoughts and emotions that feel good, ease, grace, relaxation, peace, happiness, joy, fulfillment, good conversations with friends. Work that doesn't feel like that. It feels like a mission. It feels like dharma. It feels like that's why I'm here, right? Not this thing that you just despise and you just settle for, like, all right, I got to go do that, pay the bills, and then maybe try to enjoy myself outside of that. No, you're here on planet Earth to enjoy your time and to play your role. And if that's not happening, you truly can't get this sense of happiness and fulfillment that you're looking for, right? So from that place, and you, by the way, that's just a memorized behavior, and again, a series of mental patterns. That's not you. The you is just right here, looking around. Okay, who are you without those mental patterns and those memorized behaviors, okay? Now, this is where we start getting into becoming the creator. Okay, so I mentioned that those aspects of you were unconscious creations because, again, whenever our attention on is what we're creating. Okay, so for most of our lives, the attention's been going to places we don't want. So therefore, that creation that has gotten your life force over and over and over again, it crystallizes into form. Okay? When that happens, and you've maybe heard this before, that sentient creation, the old frequency, right, an electromagnetic field of you, it doesn't want to die. It wants to stay as it is. And so it's going to resist at every turn when you start doing things that are not in alignment with it, because that part of you, that false you that is constructed, right, from defense, coping, survival, avoidance, reactivity, right? So that frequency of you that was unconsciously created, it runs on these things. It's defensive, it's got its coping habits and patterns, it's in survival, it's trying to avoid things, and it's just reacting to life. The real you that you're becoming now, that you're just waking up to and remembering, is again the isness. That's just the witness, the observer of all of these things going on. You start to observe all of these patterns, and this is where forgiveness comes in too. This is a big piece of it, because when you realize that those creations and the ways that you were operating from those influences was never truly you, so you can forgive yourself and let that go. And that's a big piece of this process. So I wanted to put that part in here because you got to keep in mind that this is fighting you. It does not want to die, okay? So at the beginning, it's going to take a lot of focus, and it's going to take a lot of heightened awareness to start to train yourself in this, right? The way that I like to put it is, for me, school, the way that I was raised, the culture that I was submerged in, had me so on the left side of my brain, right? Logic, reasoning. It's oriented in the material world, linearity, time and space, calculative, intelligence. It thinks it's so smart and it knows everything, and it's just rushing ahead, and it's insatiable. And the right side of my brain, the creative imagination, the intuitive part of me, was so atrophied, right? That muscle, that hemisphere, that part of my brain was so weak, right? And if you notice, a lot of the creatives in elementary school, middle school, high school, they didn't do well because they were more dominant on the right side of their brain and the left side wasn't developed. And that was hard for them, right? So I was the opposite of that. Now, if you look at our world, a lot of us are stuck in that place. We've got very strong left brains. Imagine you just had like a gigantic left bicep and you could curl 100 pounds in this arm, but in your right arm, which, there's a reason the Bible, and I've said this in videos, there's a reason the Bible says right-hand side of the Father, like over 100 times. It's because the right side is what's meant to be leading us right now in the Aquarian age. The right side is your feminine. It's the intuition guiding you, and not the intelligence that's just basing everything off past memory. Very important to realize that. So I say that because this, okay? It's like the right hemisphere is atrophied, right? But what we do is we create a story with it, and we say, and there's something wrong with us. We say, oh, I'm just not creative. Why is it so hard for me to think thoughts beyond what I've had? Why is it so hard for me to break these patterns? And I just want to simplify this. It's not you. It's the hemispheres of your brain being way out of balance, okay? You haven't flexed the muscle, and it's definitely like a muscle, right? Of free association, of taking no thought, of changing the direction, of asking yourself the right questions. And we're going to get into stage 1 finally, but I say this again so you don't make it so personal, right? It's not a personal thing. It's just, okay, the conditioning that I've received has put me on the left side of my brain and the right side's very weak. And that would be like if I go to the gym and I expect my right arm that I haven't worked out with in a year to be strong and to be where the left arm is. Like, no, not even close. But then I go home and I'm like, well, it was too hard, it's never going to catch up. It's never going to, so I'm just not going to go. I'm just going to keep doing my usual workout with the left hand. And by the way, you might see the lighting change because I'm in Montana and it loves to do that here, okay? So let's continue. Okay, so stage one, the audit, right? You're gonna look at yourself honestly. Right? Just take a moment and look at yourself rushing around, pretending like if you had something that you don't have right now, you're gonna feel better. You'll be in a better place if you had the clients, if your business looked the right way, if you were more confident, right? All of these things, you're just rushing around trying to get somewhere else. Completely taking yourself out of right here, which is so funny because right here is I'm okay. Right here is everything in existence is within me. Creation's already been It's already done. The blessings have already been poured out. That which you are striving to be from a linear perspective is already right here. And maybe you hear that and you go, well, what do I do with it? Okay? The more that you start to realize this, which is what you're going to do when you do this audit, is you're going to stop. You're going to start to prioritize your peace. Right? You're gonna start to, this is very important, you're gonna start to eliminate entropy. Eliminating entropy, which is chaos, it's disorder, right? The old frequency of you thrives off rushing around, trying to get somewhere else, trying to be someone else. It knows, it's very intelligent, right? It knows that the death of it exists in the present moment. So that's why you feel a lot of resistance to meditation, maybe doing some breath work, maybe doing whatever you're doing to create space. Just like when I did my vision quest, you bet your ass I had serious resistance coming up, especially that first day. And my mind was obsessing about, I'm so hungry, this is uncomfortable, it's cold, it's wet. Right? The left side of the brain, it's judging everything, it's labeling everything. And what that was teaching me was to learn to bring myself back into the present moment where it's just noticing what's going on. It's noticing the part of my brain that's labeling and judging everything. And it's the place beyond the personal. It's not good or bad. It's just, the things are just happening, right? So, when you do this audit, you've got to see, where am I not peaceful? What can I not be with? Where is my energy being depleted? Right? Write these things down, by the way. Like, really take a good look at this. It's the most important thing you're ever going to do for yourself. And notice the part of you that resists it. Notice the part of you that doesn't want to pick up the pen and write these things down. Notice how it feels in your body. It might feel like a little tightness, a little constriction, right? That's resistance. Boom, we got it. All right, that's normal. It's okay. Start taking the action to write this down. Get very clear, okay? You're going to want to start keeping a truth-telling journal. Because the old you that you're addicted to, it also thrives off lying to itself, right? Constantly abandoning you. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Kicking the can down the road, right? Oh, I'll do the hard thing tomorrow. Right now, you talk yourself into, you make excuses. It's like, oh, well, I'm not feeling inspired right now, so I can't do that. Again, this is what you're catching. So I want you to be writing down every day when this is going on. And when you're looking at it and you're writing it down, no judgment, but it's probably going to shock you. You're probably going to be like, holy shit, I do this throughout the day. Okay? So you got to look at also, like, where are you creating chaos for yourself? Where are you disorganized? Where are you all over the place? Where's the overwhelm coming in? Is it certain thoughts? Is it certain beliefs? Like, I know for me, the overwhelm was, there's so much to do. How am I going to do it all? And then that would kick me into fight or flight, and then I would start doing my coping stuff. I'd start to try to unconsciously find ways to not feel that overwhelm. That was very unsettling. All right? This is why a life examined is necessary. You've got to at this audit, right? This is going to suck. Let's not sugarcoat it. We're going to get real. It's not going to be fun because that part of you is going to resist it a lot. I want to bring this in too. It's like we're getting to a place where when you catch yourself wanting to be somewhere that you're not, when you're trying to physically get somewhere and do the matter to matter thing, when you think there's a deficiency within you, when you think that there's something to work on, you're automatically in error. You are in the character. You're in the character. So this is where you're going to start to catch yourself more and more. And I highlight this because the real you does not operate that way. The real you, again, is here, and it makes choices in the moment that are supportive of your creations and your desires and the person that the you that you're choosing to be. Because the person, that could relate to the character. The you that you want to be. Okay, so this leads us into the next big question that you are going to be asking yourself all the time, okay? And that is this. Does my future self see things that way, or do they operate that way? Now, maybe the future you is jumping for joy right now because all that they're ever trying to do is be made manifest. Your higher self is trying to be made manifest, and it can only do that when the more that you reside just here, and you're not locked into the character, and you're not locked into the addictions of the past self, and you're always asking the question, okay, with whatever school of thought that I'm pulled into right now, is that something that my future me that I see myself to be? Do they do that? Are they arguing for their limitations? Are they making excuses? Are they trying to rush around and get somewhere? No, the real you understands that everything is all here. Everything is all right. Everything is all here. There's nowhere to go. It's always just you and your attention, right? And what happens in the manifestation world is people think that, putting their attention on something for the first time differently is going to instantly manifest the thing that they're desiring. And it's like, no, again, it's like the gym. You're working out this muscle. You're going to get better at it. And that leads me into this next piece, which is very important. Your inner senses. This, my friends, is what is waking up for all of us. The awareness of our inner senses and how they work. Okay, stage 2, which is creation. Right now we're starting to go more into the waters of practicality. And for this, we're going to really start to get familiar with our inner senses. What do I mean by this? Right now, I want you to hear in your mind your mother's voice. Hear your mother's voice. Hear your father's voice. Hear your uncle's voice, your favorite uncle. Now, what's hearing that? Are they in the room physically with you? No. On demand, you're hearing their voice in your mind, right? You're recalling an experience of hearing the vibration of their voice, and that is a creation in the moment. You've brought your attention to those things. You're not physically hearing anything, which tells you that everything is going on in here first, okay? So we're going to start to train our inner senses to go to the things that we haven't experienced yet. And this is where a lot of people get hung up because they're like, I don't know how to do this. Yes, you do. You are a creator. You've had the feeling of abundance. You've had the feeling of ecstasy, bliss, total alignment, trust. At one point, or confidence, at one point or another, you've had these things, okay? So you want to start using your inner senses daily, just like I've used the gym analogy, okay? You're gonna go for embodiment walks. Like this is a skill. This is a skill that's gonna be one of the most important things for your evolution. It's embodiment. It's being able to, right now in the moment, all right, what does it feel like to be a confident human? How do they operate? How do they stand? What's their posture? How do they speak? How do they speak? Right? This is all, and if you're like, well, that's not me, I don't sound like that. No, the old story of you isn't applying anymore. Again, if we want to create the confident you, if you haven't had that, they speak a lot differently, right? So you start to practice that. You start to bring it into your body. You start to put your awareness on confidence. Maybe you, watch on YouTube one of the people that inspires you with their confidence the most. And you watch their mannerisms, you watch the way that they carry themselves, and you start to emulate that, right? And then you start to go for walks. You put on some music. You start to play with your inner senses. Keyword, play. Play with the inner senses. This is not something to get frustrated about. This is not again, if you go to the gym and you haven't been for a year, are you going to be pissed that you're not feeling very strong? No, that would be stupid. Even though we do stuff like that, it's very human of us, right? You can't judge this. You're just starting to come into alignment with your creative faculties. This is exciting to start this process. This is like you're on the cutting edge. This is why we're alive. Our souls are not going to let us off the hook until we learn this, right? If it's got to use pain and we keep traveling down the old ego road and the addiction of who we once were, and not being the creator and we're being a consumer, it's going to beat us over the head with this because there's an innate part of us that wants to learn this very strongly, right? That's why we're here. The joy of coming back to that sense of I'm the creator of my experience. And these are the things, right? Getting to know your inner senses, bringing it into your body, playing with those inner senses, deciding, making the decision that you are getting very good at this. You are very good at this. You are a master in disguise. Okay? You already are very good with this. It's just taking practice. It's so you show yourself that you are these things, okay? You're writing it down. You're going for walks as it. You're going into the grocery store as that version of you. You're taking inspired action. You're demonstrating the behaviors of the you that you want to be, okay? And now here's the big transition, and this is what a lot of us are afraid of because it's a big responsibility to start to to be the full creator of your life. You got to pay attention to everything. You got to be paying attention to where your thoughts are going and where your energy's going. And you've got to start to guard that and steward that in a proper way. And it's very powerful, right? And I'm going to share with you another big piece that I had to go through when I was on the vision quest, that I had to work through, that I realized was keeping me attached to my old sense of self. And it was one of the strongest attachments, okay? And I guarantee you can relate to this. Letting go of disappointment. Oh my God, I've got an extra S on there. That's okay. Letting go of disappointment. There's been a lot of times in our lives where we were let down. We had expectations, they weren't met, and that is some of the most painful experiences that we've had. And so because it's so painful and that expectation was so high that wasn't met, our brain becomes this mechanism where it's looking for things like that to try to protect us from experiencing that pain again. And we almost have this unconscious expectation of being disappointed. Oh, but life really can't be that magical. Life can't really be this thing that's just truly a mirror of me. It can't be this thing where I can just create whatever I want to create. It can't be this thing that is an intelligent design that desires to experience itself fully through me. No, it can't be all of that. And maybe there's stories layered on top of like, I got to work hard, I got to struggle, I got to be the underdog. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to fight my way up. I'm going to, those people that doubted me, I'm going to prove them wrong. There's so many things layered on top of this, okay? And for me, it was disappointment. It was like I was so used to things not working out, so used to not having my desired reality, that there was a part of me that was like, no, that's never going to happen for you, right? And that was keeping me attached and rooted into that old identity. And I didn't even realize to the degree that it was there and what was going on. And so I had to really reconcile that version of myself. It was almost like if you could imagine, the 6-year-old you inside that thinks that life is, not fair, it sucks, it's like this dull, black and gray type of place, there's no magic, you're disconnected. It's just life is just something that you just got to get by. You just got to put your head down. You have some good moments, but like you just kind of play it out. And this is the victim mentality. This is the archetype of the victim that you learn as a child. It's an archetype that gets activated within us, and it takes over our thoughts, and it takes over our whole, biological process. And this is a big one to overcome and let go of the attachment to. And this is where a concept called reparenting comes in. Reparenting, the way that I look at it is that 6-year-old Sean who's been disappointed many times, who lost the magic of life, needs to hear the truth. He needs to be brought along the process and say, hey, life is beautiful. Watch how incredible this gets. Watch what happens when I take responsibility and put my attention where I would like it to go. As a creator, here's the thing I would like to create. Here's the desire I have. All right, I put my attention there and I have the discipline and the focus, which we know is being fractured insanely by social media and all these different things. If I can harness the superpower of my focus and keep my attention on what I desire to create, it has to happen. It's always going to happen. Right? And so that starts to, and when you do that, your inner child, and by the way, reality starts moving when you do that, your inner child starts to come on board, and it's like, whoa, okay, I'm starting to have some fun again. I'm starting to feel the creative energy that I used to feel as a child when I would make art and climb trees and make games of everything, right? This is such a process of reconnecting with our inner child, which is, you got to be a good parent to yourself. A lot of us bless our parents, they didn't know what they were doing. They did the best they could with what they had, even if they abused you, even if they did things that are affecting you right now. Again, that's the character that we're letting go of, that was a victim to their cultural influences, what their parents did, all of that kind of thing. The you, the isness that is just here, is just the creator, right? So we're creating beyond that conditioning where there isn't the influence of our parents, and it's just us with our own inner child, letting them out of the box, out of the cage that we put them in, and starting to create again, starting to bring our ideas to life, starting to act on those, just like a kid getting crayons out of the box and starting to actually draw. It's like, whoa, I'm really doing this. Giving yourself permission, right? Permission to create. These are so many people, they're like, all right, I gotta get another degree. I gotta just go do this thing first. I gotta start doing all these outside things just to get to the place where I can feel good enough to give myself permission to do the things that I desire to do, right? You see it all the time. This whole thing, this whole process that we're in, is becoming the creators again. This is why I love improv so much. This is why I teach it. This is what I bring into my coaching. This is what I bring into my communities. All that's going on is the right side of our brain is very atrophied. We give up on ourselves super early, just like people do at the gym on New Year's, when they don't want to have to go through the feeling of weakness and feeling bad about themselves and feeling out of shape and out of breath. Like, you got to get over that hurdle, which is the resistance, and fully land in that place of I am the creator. That's it. I am the creator. Period, full stop. Your nature is to create, not to consume. All right? There's a reason that Yeshua and someone in Buddha and these other masters said, take no thought for your life. If you're going to think thoughts, intentionally send them towards your creation. Just like in the book, with Malcolm Maxwell, Psycho-Cybernetics, right? The brain, the mind is a success mechanism, truly, when you give it the right things to focus on, when you steer your thoughts towards just the thing that you're creating on and not all the other things that are like, well, I don't know how to do that, and I've never done this before, and what if people think this about the thing that I'm creating? Like, no, you just keep it on. Here's what I want to create. Okay, cool. What needs to happen for that? What's the thing? What's the next step? What am I gonna have to gather? Like, that's where you're training yourself to keep your attention on. So I'm going to close this, because we've gone on for a bit, with you're learning to be intimate with the real you. Like, imagine your future version of you that is in the place that you've always wanted to be, and getting familiar with bringing it into your body and aligning with that future you right now. This is what Joe Dispenza talks about all the time. There's a reason people have had so much success with his teachings, right? And Neville Goddard and some of these other incredible masters that have really helped us with this along the way. You have to start asking the question, is this how my future self operates? Are these the things that they would be doing? Is this the way that their mind would be working? Is this the behavior they'd be demonstrating? Are these the habits that they would have? Is this the way they would spend their time? No. So to start creating this, you want to get very familiar with the qualities, the behaviors, the thoughts that you is engaged with. Okay? Make a list. Use that notebook. Get yourself a brand new notebook and dedicate to this process. Become a full-time embodiment artist. Not a student, an artist. Right? You're creating. You're not copying. You're not going online and finding other people's qualities and things that they wrote. No, this is very unique to you. All right? I hope this was helpful. And we have so much more to share with you inside of the community, Top Floor Souls, inside of the group program, the Freedom Framework, starting later this month. It's going to blow your socks off, and we're going to all do this together. We're going to go places that you never could have imagined, okay? I have a couple spots left for direct one-to-one coaching, which is a very intimate process and one of my favorite things to do, but I don't have much space for that other than 2 slots right now. But if that speaks to you, or you want to be in a more group dynamic, then all of these things are here to support you, because you're me, I'm you, and we're all waking up and we're changing the world, okay? And you becoming a creator is a massive contribution and part of that process. I love you guys. See you in the next one.